Was thermite the main cause of the building collapse? Once again, there is a way to find out. Emertech calculated a controlled experiment to see if thermite was a viable option in the collapse of the towers.
Today, we're going to be going through a column that's only 8 inches by 6 inches by about ½ inch thick. So compared to the World Trade Center columns, it's really puny, and we're still using over 100 pounds of thermite to try to burn through it. To get thermite to burn into metal, you have to hold it in place and let the heat transfer into the metal. So to put it on column, you have to build something that will hold this basically molten metal against the column long enough for it to do some good.
The demolition team designs a 4-sided flange and welds it onto the column. Since thermite is not explosive, it must be held in tight contact with the column until it heats up enough to melt the steel. Clay is added to the flange and the welds to protect them from the heat and focus the melting action on the column.
You want to talk to him when we get back? The thermite is not going to explode. It's not going to cause a boom. What you're going to see is basically a fire. It's going to be a much slower process.
The team scaled their experiment to see if the steel column, somewhat smaller than those in the World Trade Center, could be sheared with 175 pounds of commercial-grade thermite. If thermite melts through this steel column, the theory of a thermite-controlled demolition may have some validity. While the truthers insist that more explosive super thermite could have been used in the tower demolitions, testing conventional thermite can illuminate this physical process and answer a simple question. Can thermite of any type burn through steel beams?
Lining it with clay wasn't a total success. We can see where the clay broke off, but it looks like most of the material just basically boiled out, and we did not get that heating action that we wanted on the column.
Despite 175 pounds of thermite packed around the steel column, it remained undamaged. Our results seem clear. If thermite can't melt this small column, it wouldn't have had a chance to melt through the much larger columns in the Twin Towers. Not surprisingly, the truthers questioned these results. While Stephen Jones envisions an easy thermite application, Emertech asserts that even if this military substance could be found, it still would not have been practical to use.
If you take just a thin layer of thermite, it'd be tough to light to begin with, but even if you did, it's just going to flash, and there's hardly any energy there.
So is the argument then, oh, well, even though you find super thermite-looking residue, it doesn't make sense, so we just won't do an investigation. We'll just kind of ignore the residues that you found that blow up today because we can't figure out how they could do it, and therefore we don't have to look.